Any of you here know the mysteries of the universe and how they connect us to those who have passed? Halloween, with its spooky costumes and trick-or-treating fun, may be just an exciting celebration for many in the West, but few realize it stems from an ancient Celtic belief that on this day, the veil between the living world and the spirit realm becomes thin, allowing ancestral souls to return. In the East, festivals like Vulan and Oban carry a similar message of deep gratitude and peace for the departed, reminding us that our lives today are only a part of an endless stream connecting generations. These festivals are not just occasions for remembrance, but open a view into the invisible connection between us, the universe, and those who came before, helping us live with gratitude and a profound understanding of our own journey. In this video, the Buddha Path will take you on a deep journey through remembrance festivals from East and West, offering fresh perspectives on how we are connected to the universe. During this Halloween season, we'll explore Halloween, Vulan, and Oban, festivals that not only honor those who have passed, but also embody profound philosophies of compassion, filial piety, and the Buddhist principle of impermanence. Join the Buddha Path as we uncover how each of these festivals reflects the fusion of culture and spirituality, guiding us to live with gratitude, honor our roots, and discover deeper meaning in our lives today. If you find this video inspiring and valuable, please hit subscribe, like, and share to spread the wisdom of compassion and life's deeper insights. Your support fuels the Buddha Path to continue bringing meaningful content that connects us to our roots and helps us find peace within. Together, we can build a community enriched with wisdom and compassion. Halloween and the Vulan and Oban festivals, where East and West meet through festivals of remembrance. The Western Halloween celebration and Eastern festivals, like Vulan and Oban, share a sacred mission, connecting with ancestors, expressing respect, and praying for the peace of departed souls. Despite differences in rituals, symbols, and expressions, these festivals all aim to bridge the visible and invisible worlds, reminding us of the brief and transient nature of human existence. As we delve deeper into each festival, we not only discover their cultural elements, but also touch on profound philosophies about life and death. Origins and development of Halloween, Vulan, and Oban. Rooted in respect for ancestors, Halloween, widely known in the West for its mysterious imagery and festive activities, actually has a profound origin and carries significant spiritual meaning. About 2,000 years ago, the Celtic people of Ireland and Scotland celebrated Samhain, marking the transition from autumn to winter. Samhain was seen as the end of the harvest season and the onset of the cold winter. More importantly, it was believed that on this night, the boundary between the living world and the spirit world became thin, allowing ancestral spirits to return. The Celts believed that during Samhain, spirits could revisit the mortal world, but it was also a time when harmful spirits could disturb the living. To protect themselves, they disguised themselves in strange costumes, lit large fires, and offered food and goods to ward off evil spirits, hoping to shield their families and villages from negative energy. As Samhain spread and evolved, especially when Celtic traditions intertwined with Christian practices, it gradually transformed into what we now know as Halloween. While some of the original elements have been diluted, Halloween still retains a spiritual aspect as an occasion for remembrance and connection with the deceased. However, it has also become more of an entertainment-focused event, with mysterious and mystical imagery and the popular trick-or-treat tradition widely enjoyed by modern generations. In contrast, Eastern festivals like Vulan in Vietnam and Oban in Japan bear a strong spiritual and Buddhist nature, originating from filial piety and gratitude for ancestors. Vulan in Vietnam is deeply connected to the touching story of Maud Galiana, Mok Kin Lien, one of Buddha's disciples. According to legend, when Maud Galiana used his supernatural abilities to search for his mother, he discovered she had fallen into the realm of hungry ghosts, suffering as a result of her karmic retribution. In deep sorrow and filial devotion, he sought Buddha's guidance on how to free her. Buddha advised him to hold a Vulan ceremony on the 15th day of the 7th lunar month, harnessing the combined prayers and offerings of the monastic community. Vulan thus became an important occasion to show filial devotion to parents and to pray for the souls of ancestors. Similarly, Obon in Japan also has Buddhist origins and is a time for families to express their gratitude and honor their ancestors. Obon usually takes place in August, when Japanese families clean and decorate their ancestral altars, offering food and drinks as tokens of respect. The unique feature of Obon is the Lantern Festival, a heartfelt gesture in which family members light lanterns along paths and near their homes, hoping to guide the spirits of their loved ones home. At the end of the festival, these lanterns are set afloat on rivers, symbolizing a farewell and blessings for the departed souls as they return to the afterlife. The Buddhist philosophy holds that each person's life is not an isolated existence, but a part of an endless stream of continuity, passing through generations. We are not just born from our parents, but are the continuation of our ancestors and past generations. Every action and thought leaves an imprint not only on the present, but also on future generations. Thus, Vulan and Obon are not just occasions to express gratitude, but also moments for everyone to remember their roots, to live with gratitude, and to understand that everything we have comes from the origin, from the flow of life. In Buddhism, this connection is called the flow of karma, in which all our actions, thoughts, and emotions contribute to the cycle of reincarnation. When we remember our ancestors and perform rituals of prayer, we not only comfort the deceased but also cultivate our own spirituality. It reminds us that we can free ourselves from suffering and delusion if we live with compassion and wisdom. Obon and Vulan are not merely times for remembrance. They are opportunities for each individual to reflect, to realize that life is only part of an endless cycle, and that compassion is the guiding light on this journey. Vulan and Obon also embody the ideas of liberation and karmic cleansing, helping souls escape suffering in the cycle of reincarnation. With the Buddhist spirit of compassion, when we hold ceremonies, perform prayers, and make offerings, we create positive energy that not only assists souls in reaching peace, but also purifies our own karma. In Buddhist philosophy, filial piety and respect for ancestors are not merely acts of gratitude, but also pathways to enlightenment, helping us see the impermanent nature of life more clearly. For Eastern cultures, Vulan and Obon are opportunities to practice filial piety profoundly, understanding that the connection with our ancestors is eternal and immutable. Through each prayer and ritual, we not only remember those who have passed away, but also cherish each value, each lesson left by our forebears, as an inseparable part of our lives. Symbols and rituals. Different expressions, same sacred purpose. Halloween is marked by iconic symbols like carved pumpkins with spooky faces, costumes of eerie characters, and the trick-or-treat tradition. Originally, these symbols held protective meanings, as the Celts believed they could ward off malevolent spirits. The jack-o'-lantern with its grotesque face was thought to repel wandering spirits, keeping the living safe from the supernatural. Strange and frightening costumes were more than mere amusement. They arose from the idea that disguising oneself could help avoid recognition by malevolent spirits, thereby deterring misfortune and bad luck. Over time, Halloween has evolved into a lively cultural event where children wear a wide variety of costumes and go door to door asking for treats in the trick-or-treat custom. Costumes now extend beyond frightening figures to include mythical characters, pop culture icons, and humorous personas, reflecting individual creativity. Despite these transformations, Halloween still carries an important notion. Life and death coexist side by side. By dressing up as ghosts or ghouls and confronting fears, people in the West come to terms with the fact that life and death are not separate, but rather two parts of a single, natural cycle of human existence. In contrast, festivals like Vulan in Vietnam and Obon in Japan carry a solemn and spiritual atmosphere, with religious rituals and customs rooted in filial piety and gratitude for ancestors. In Vietnam, during Vulan, people offer feasts, burn incense, chant Buddhist sutras, and perform rituals to pray for the souls of the deceased. These actions are not only a demonstration of filial piety, but also a time for the living to express their gratitude and remember their deep connections with their ancestors. During Obon in Japan, rituals are similarly meaningful, yet uniquely presented through the Lantern Festival. Throughout Obon, Japanese families light lanterns at the doorways of their homes to guide ancestral spirits back. Temples, shrines, and parks display hundreds of lanterns, creating a peaceful, sacred atmosphere. At the end of the festival, paper lanterns are set afloat on rivers or oceans, symbolizing a farewell for the spirits who have visited and are now returning to the afterlife. Through this, Obon serves as a way to honor ancestors and reminds participants of the transient nature of life. In Buddhism, impermanence is a fundamental teaching. The Buddha taught that everything is subject to change, nothing is permanent, and all separations are temporary. Vulan and Obon, with rituals such as offering food, chanting, and lighting lanterns for the deceased, provide comfort to departed souls while also helping practitioners release attachment, achieving peace within. Performing these rituals with reverence is a way to purify the mind, guiding oneself toward enlightenment and understanding that filial piety is not merely an act of love, but also a pathway to inner tranquility and contentment. Moreover, the rituals of Vulan and Obon are seen as acts of merit transfer, a form of positive energy transformation from the living to the spirits of the deceased. When people perform these ceremonies, offering prayers and food, they not only wish for their ancestors' peace, but also create a sacred, tranquil environment that allows themselves to experience inner peace, dispelling worries and troubles. These practices are ways for the living to show profound gratitude for all that they have received, recognizing the value of their roots and establishing a sacred connection with their forebears. Unlike Halloween, where people dress as ghouls to confront death in a lighthearted way, the Vulan and Obon festivals are steeped in reverence and spirituality. These rituals remind participants to remember their origins, to live with gratitude, and to hold dear traditional values, guiding them to live righteously, kindly, and compassionately. Such actions create a spiritual space, allowing people to feel a connection with the unseen world, reaching a state of inner peace as they immerse themselves in the cosmic flow, where life and death are simply two facets of a unified whole. With each lantern lit and each incense stick offered during Vulan and Obon, the living are reminded that life is impermanent, just a part of the never-ending cycle. Participants are encouraged to look within, release resentment and attachment, and reach a state of purity. Rituals like floating lanterns down the river during Obon or chanting prayers for the departed in Vulan are not merely acts of remembrance, but opportunities for the living to release psychological burdens, transcend the grief of loss, and continue on their journeys with a sense of peace and resilience. Practicing these rituals aligns with Buddhism's teaching that all things are temporary and constantly changing. Such practices allow people to cleanse their minds and find tranquility in life. In each festival, whether it is Vulan, Obon, or Halloween, the rituals serve a high and sacred purpose. They help people connect with their origins, find peace within, and understand their existence as part of a greater whole, the vast canvas of the universe, where life and death are simply small parts of an infinite cycle of transformation and change. Spiritual significance. When impermanence becomes a living lesson for the living. Though Halloween, Vulan, and Obon differ in their symbols and rituals, they all converge around a profound shared message: the connection between the worlds of the living and the deceased. Halloween offers people in the West an opportunity to face death with a playful perspective, shifting from fear of the unknown to seeing it as a natural part of life. The trick-or-treat tradition, costumes, and haunted decorations allow everyone, especially children, to engage with the idea of death in a lighthearted way, seeing it as a natural, inevitable aspect of existence. In contrast, the Eastern festivals of Vulan and Obon carry a more solemn and spiritual tone, encouraging participants to embrace filial piety and reverence for ancestors. Vulan, for example, is not only a time to pray for the souls of departed loved ones, but also a moment for the living to find inner peace, fostering a deeper understanding of compassion. For Buddhists, rituals like chanting, incense offerings, and food sacrifices are not merely acts of prayer, but also serve to settle the heart, helping one move beyond worldly anxieties and reach a state of inner calm. Practicing respect for the deceased is an expression of compassion. enabling the living to transcend life's challenges while cultivating a deeply compassionate spirit. In Buddhist philosophy, death is not an end, but a transition from one state to another. The soul continues its journey through the cycle of reincarnation, experiencing various lives until liberation is achieved. Remembering ancestors and deceased loved ones stirs compassion within us, allowing us to see that our lives are not merely isolated existences, but rather parts of a larger, ongoing flow of the universe. Every action and thought affects not only the present, but also the continuation of future generations. Vulan and Oban serve as reminders that death does not bring permanent separation. Instead, it opens a new path, an essential part of the vibrant and eternal cycle of the cosmos. Through these festivals, whether we approach death with a lighthearted spirit, as in Halloween, or with quiet reverence, as in Vulan and Oban, we learn the essential lesson of impermanence and the interconnectedness of life and death. It encourages us to live with compassion, honoring our roots and ancestors, and seeing ourselves as parts of a greater journey through time and space. In this way, the spiritual significance of these festivals serves as a bridge between worlds, teaching us to live fully and compassionately in each moment of our lives. Philosophy of life and death, acceptance and compassion as the path to enlightenment. Through the lens of Buddhism, Halloween, Vulan, and Oban each offer a lesson on accepting death and the impermanence of life. Halloween, with its eerie imagery and playful activities, allows people in the West to face their fears of death more comfortably, helping them learn to accept the transient nature of human life. When participants dress as haunting figures or share ghostly tales, they are not only engaging in fun, but also indirectly learning to confront and even embrace the fear of death, seeing it as a natural aspect of existence. This approach aligns closely with the Buddhist philosophy of non-self, anatta, the understanding that nothing is permanent, that everything is temporary, and that clinging to the self or ego brings only suffering. In contrast, the Eastern festivals of Vulan and Oban emphasize lessons on compassion and liberation. The story of Maudgaliana, Mukkinlian, saving his mother is not only a symbol of filial devotion, but also a profound example of the power of compassion. Buddha taught that when we practice compassion, both the one receiving help and the one offering it experience peace and even enlightenment. To truly help others, one must understand that salvation does not come from material offerings alone, but from a spiritual connection grounded in compassion and unconditional love. Buddhism teaches that compassion and acceptance of death are the keys to enlightenment. In each action and thought, if we turn toward compassion and understand that life is impermanent, we achieve a state of enlightenment free from the suffering caused by attachment to the self. Practicing compassion not only brings comfort to the deceased, but also purifies the heart and mind of the practitioner, helping them transcend suffering and discover true peace. During the Vulan and Oban festivals, the living express reverence for their ancestors through prayer, offerings, and rituals. In doing so, they not only pray for the departed souls' peace, but also cultivate compassion within themselves, moving closer to a state of liberation. Thus, compassion is not simply an act of helping others. It is a form of spiritual practice that guides us toward enlightenment, teaching us that life is fleeting and that living with an awareness of impermanence brings us closer to inner freedom and peace. Whether it is Halloween, Vulan, or Oban, each festival provides an opportunity for people to confront death, to practice compassion, and to nurture a loving heart. These celebrations encourage us to deeply reflect on life and death, helping us to understand that everything is temporary and that compassion is the key to transcending suffering, reaching a state of enlightenment, and finding inner peace. Transformation, from joy to compassion and enlightenment. Despite their different cultural hues and approaches, Halloween, Vulan, and Oban all have the power to bring about profound transformations within the hearts and minds of those who participate. Halloween encourages people to face their fears of death through eerie imagery and playful activities. Through this festival, fear of the unknown becomes something familiar, accepted with ease and levity. By dressing as spirits and taking part in ghoulish games, participants discover a sense of freedom in embracing mortality, finding joy, laughter, and a sense of lightness in facing what is often seen as an ominous part of existence. In contrast, Vulan and Oban direct people towards filial piety and compassion. When participants make offerings, pray for their departed loved ones, and engage in spiritual practices, they experience a deep connection with their ancestors. These moments serve not only as opportunities to show gratitude, but also as reminders that compassion and respect are fundamental values that give meaning to life. Vulan and Oban invite us to practice compassion and to understand that comforting others and honoring the departed ultimately brings peace and fulfillment to ourselves. In Buddhist philosophy, every action taken with compassion and respect is considered a path to enlightenment. When people offer gifts, pray, and perform rituals with sincere devotion, they not only ease the spirits of the deceased, but also purify their own minds, creating positive energy that dispels the stresses and worries of daily life. Through each act of offering, prayer, or chanting, the living practice compassion, cultivating a loving heart. This compassion is the bridge that brings them closer to peace and enlightenment, a state free from the anxieties and attachments of the ego. Through these festivals, whether they stem from Western or Eastern traditions, participants are encouraged to confront their fears, open their hearts, and cultivate a sense of peace and wisdom. Halloween helps people find joy amidst fear, while Vulan and Oban remind them that compassion and gratitude are essential for a fulfilling life. Together, these festivals teach us that life is transient and that compassion, both for ourselves and others, is the key to transcending suffering and progressing towards enlightenment. Both Halloween and the Vulan and Oban festivals provide opportunities for people to connect with the unseen, reminding us of the impermanence of life and the inseparable bond with those who have come before us. In the West, Halloween brings a sense of lightheartedness, encouraging people to accept death and their fears through playful imagery and ghostly tales, allowing participants to see death as a natural part of life. In contrast, the Vulan and Oban festivals in the East encourage people to honor their roots, practice filial piety, and cultivate compassion, bringing peace and tranquility to the soul. In the modern world, where beliefs and cultures may vary widely, these festivals remain a chance for everyone to find comfort, peace, and even joy when facing the reality of impermanence. Rituals that honor the deceased, whether in the West or the East, help guide people toward an understanding that death is simply a part of life, that life and death are two sides of an endless cycle. These festivals remind us that life is fleeting, and that compassion and love are the only ways to transcend sorrow, achieve enlightenment, and live with a fulfilled and peaceful heart. If you find this video enjoyable and valuable, please hit subscribe, like, and share to spread the wisdom of compassion and life's deeper understandings. Your support motivates the Buddha Path to continue bringing meaningful content, fostering connections to our roots, and helping us all find inner peace. Together, we can create a community filled with wisdom and kindness. Thank you for watching, and see you in our next videos.